So have you always been into conservation? This is relatively recent.
Conservation as a word, no. But animals, yes. Growing up in South Africa, being African, living the outdoor lifestyle, 100% I've been animal. We lived on a green belt in Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. And so I say for the first 20 years of my life, we were completely outdoors. And then I moved here and jumped into the bubble here in England, and we live beautifully, happily here, and we've been here almost 20 years, or I've been here almost 20 years. And we bring our kids up here, and then we have a lodge in Africa that we go back to, and we sort of commute between the two countries, which is
wonderful.
Which is pretty special.
But it was 2013 though that you went on a rhino tagging expedition, and that kind of was the game changer for you.
So when I played for England, I was you're English. Did that shift in 2000, and then I sort of lost my connection with South Africa. And then when everything fell to pieces, I think I was with you guys, and we did a whole thing when my book came out, and there was just such a horrible period of my life, one that it was just shocking. And in and around that time, I'd just been to South Africa and went on this microchipping experience, and I think, Phil, you've been on one as well.
Yeah.
And it is just the most emotional journey that it takes you on over that period, and you're just fully engaged and engulfed in this animal. And when I realised and understood the brutality of which they're being killed, a rhino's being killed every single 8 hours. Its horn fetches $85,000 US on the black market, which is more expensive than cocaine. And you realise how they're being carved, and the VT there says that I get sent these images. I've literally just got sent another one this morning of a little baby that had just been taken in a care for wild. So it's a daily thing, and it's an unrelenting war, but it's the most beautiful place as well.
Well, this is going to form is forming your podcast, Beast of a Man. It's a podcast for BBC Sounds 5 Live. It's out now. The episodes are released every Friday. There are 10 of them, and you've had your work with Sarah Brett, who's come into your home, and she's a journalist, and so you've worked together there. What astonished me when I did my rhino tagging was to stand beside this incredible bin. We found out that she was pregnant, and it was incredible. And then the worth of that horn was explained to me. The stupidity of human beings, that you're actually killing that beast for something that has got the same makeup as my fingernail.
Yeah, so 0 medicinal value. I mean, if you want rhino horn, there's your rhino horn. It's keratin. That's all rhino horn is. And
no one has said that our fingernails are going to stop heart attacks.
It's never going to stop heart. It's not an aphrodisiac. It doesn't cure cancer. It doesn't cure a hangover. But I think the issue at the moment is the symbol of wealth, and that's the real big issue. And what they're doing at the moment is they're stockpiling. In China and in Vietnam, they're stockpiling because they believe by 2025 the rhino is going to be no longer. So the more rhino horn you have by 2025, when there's no more rhino and the animal goes extinct, the more wealth you're going to have because you've stockpiled and you've got it. So, I mean, it really is a war against the animals.
So it's being stockpiled on the expectation of extinction.
Of it going extinction,
That's just awful, isn't it? That really is. And your position as a sportsman, as a celebrity, you have a voice. There's no doubt about that. You also raise an awful lot of money. I think up to date it's sort of £162,000. That money is being used as a defence against this, and there's sort of technology because lots of poaching happens at night.
Yeah. So basically that was from a couple of days, and I've got my next event next week in South Africa, and we raised that. And it's to launch a technology called FLIR, the forward-looking infrared system. So when you see the cops and robber chasers around and you watch those programs, it's the thermal imaging that goes up at night time when the guy jumps out of his car and he runs left and right and the cop are chasing him, doesn't know where he is. But the helicopter that's at 2,000 feet is surveilling with this thermal imaging. It says, turn right, turn left, he's behind that dustbin, and they capture. So at night time, we don't own the night. The poachers own the night at the moment. There's no thermal imaging, so the guys have been with me all morning. It's been chaos on my phone because there's a guy who's flown into a place now to go and get those cameras, and we're launching that technology on Wednesday in the Kruger Park. So it's groundbreaking, and it's something like, it's just amazing.
Is it winnable? Is this, are we at a point where we could prevent the extinction?
Yes, technology can prevent extinction, and that's what we're desperately fighting for. But it's money, and technology costs a lot of money.
So poaching, obviously illegal. Trophy hunting, legal currently in South Africa. And so this is where somebody can go along, pay a certain amount of money and go and kill any one of the big five if they want to. A lot of them use the argument that it's
for conservation.
Yes. something you don't agree with at all, I imagine.
No, I don't agree with it. I mean, I don't mind hunting, subsistence hunting, when you're hunting for food and you're looking to supply people with food, then I've got absolutely no issue with it. However, waking up in the morning with that urge and that desire to kill one of the big five is something that I've got a real big issue with, and I don't understand it. And unfortunately, there's too many arguments for and against, which makes it a topic whereby people can sort of plateau. And in my 5 Live podcast, we talked to Michael Gove, who has said that he's not going to stop the import of trophies into the UK yet, because he believes and he's heard that actually it does assist in conservation. Now, if it assisted in conservation, why would the lion population be diminishing? Why would the rhino population be diminishing? Why would the elephant population be diminishing? These guys go and take out the alpha males of those animals. You take out the alpha male, that causes havoc amongst prides, amongst herds.
Well, let's talk to a person with very different views on all of this. It's trophy hunter Jens who's going to join us now. Good morning, Jens.
Morning.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us today. You do have a very, very different view. You say you've killed everything and you love everything about it.
Well, I haven't absolutely not killed everything, but I am a hunter. I grew up here in Scandinavia, where hunting is very accepted everywhere, and I enjoy hunting all over the world. But I think we are having the wrong discussion here. I absolutely agree with Kevin that poaching is one of the biggest issue for the biodiversity issues we have on this planet right now. The war against poaching, and it is a war, people are putting their lives on the line, is extremely important. But what Kevin seems to forget here is actually that the reason that we have all these white rhinos in South Africa, we have almost 20,000 at the moment in South Africa, is because they started to allow trophy hunting on white rhinos back in 1968. And private landowners took on the rhinos because suddenly the rhinos were valuable to them. There were 1,868, and the population grew to almost 20,000. And not only did the population grew, it also funded its own protection for many, many years. And yes, it's true that we are in the midst of a deep, deep, deep poaching crisis.
What will you shoot now then? Would you go to South Africa, or would you shoot a rhino, or is that off your list?
It's off my personal list for many reasons. One of the reasons is that I don't find a hunt for a white rhino to be very interesting from a hunting perspective, because it's not a challenging hunt. I would definitely hunt black rhino if we had plenty of black rhinos in the world, but that's not going to happen in my lifetime. I mean, I gladly hunt moose, I gladly hunt wild boar, I hunt red deer, I hunt all kinds of animals. But obviously, I would only go and hunt an animal if it's sustainable and if it serves a purpose. And actually, the very, very limited trophy hunting we had, for instance, on rhinos, has been extremely important in relation to saving the rhino up to the point where we are now. Yes, we have a crisis. A lot of the funding for fighting poachers comes from hunting. So
let's just see what Kevin says about that. So he's saving the rhino.
I'm not so sure he's saving the rhino, because the rhino is being depleted. There's a rhino that gets killed every single 8 hours. So I'm not so sure we're saving the rhino by shooting him. And there's a reason why he won't shoot any more of them, is because they're not going to be around very much longer. So,
is there anything in his argument that you agree with there? Or?
Listen, it's difficult to have a conversation with a hunter when he's on a two-way or a way. It's very difficult to have it. Conservation is unfortunately a tag that's loosely equipped to these guys who like to kill animals. And if you're the kind of guy, and I mean, he's talked about the moose, but that's like shooting an impala or a kudu or a waterbuck. I'm severely against trophy hunting. Trophy hunting, and he hasn't mentioned a particular trophy that I'm really against, but I just don't. And you'll hear it in our podcast when we're on the sofa in the lounge, and this guy says, I wake up every morning and I've got this urge to just shoot an elephant. And I'm sitting there, excuse me?
And do you have that urge, Jens? Is that how you feel?
No, I like to go hunting, but I don't have a list where I rank different animals according to how cute or how great they are or whatever.
But the more dangerous, the more better for you. You've said you won't shoot a white rhino because it's not an easy hunt, but you'll take on something that's more difficult, right?
Difficult, not dangerous, but difficult. I mean, we hunters, we do not go hunting to save the world. We do not pretend that we are the ones doing the actual conservation work. We are the money into the system that incentivize the landowners and everybody else who's in the system to do the conservation work.
Hans, sorry, 1 second. Why don't you just give that money to a conservationist? Why don't you fund the technology to save the animal?
As I said, I don't go hunting to do conservation. I go hunting because I like to hunt. That's as simple as that.
What is your proudest trophy, Jens? What have you got that is your proudest thing?
Well, it has to be my first roebuck. It had horns like this big, but it was really, really difficult to hunt for me as a 16-year-old.
And you obviously shot the big five. Is that still a thrill for you?
No, I didn't shoot the big five. I would say, fortunately, I cannot afford to shoot the big five. And I say fortunately because it's so important that this type of hunting is really, really expensive in order to bring in the necessary funds to protect the wildlife and the habitat. We're basically having the wrong discussion time and time again. Because there's two things we can discuss about trophy hunting. One is what we feel about trophy hunting, and the other is what are the actual consequences of trophy hunting. And there is definitely some very clear positive consequences for nature conservation in trophy hunting. And you don't have to take my word for it. You just ask the IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature.
Yes. Thank you very much.
We've got to pause there, Jens, but thank you very much indeed. Hopefully you felt that you put your side of the discussion as well.
Thanks,
thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, yes.
It is a fascinating discussion, and you'll be having that on your
Oh, no, you're very welcome.
Beast of a Man, as we said, the podcast for BBC 5 Live, out now every Friday.